Hello, if you're watching the replay, I'm Corinne Crabtree from PNPTribe.com, and today we are going to talk about self-sabotage and how it kills weight loss. I lost 100 pounds 13 years ago, and I've been successfully keeping it off. And now what I do is I help other women do the same thing. I do it through Facebook Lives, a podcast called Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. I also own my own weight loss website where I help women in my tribe lose all the weight they want and more. So if you're coming in here, feel free to share this podcast to your friends on your personal pages and stuff in any of the groups you belong to, and we will get started. The way I like to do things is you guys can post questions if you want to. I will teach. Let me get comfy. I like to get comfy. Y'all, I just worked out, seriously. I do. Most of the time I come to you like sweat-tastic, but this morning I actually took a shower. I have still not quit sweating. It has been 45 minutes and my body still keeps trying to sweat through this. So if you notice me being a little glistening, it's because I was outside running in the humidity and doing shoulder work too. All right, so self-sabotage. A lot of you know you do it, so let's just review what self-sabotage is. It is essentially where I want to lose weight. I know what to do. I want it real bad. I have no lack of want and desire. And yet, when it comes time to eat, I just lose all my goals. So that's essentially self-sabotage. It is just where you either purposely or unconsciously are choosing to do things that are not going to help you lose the weight. So a lot of times that manifests, guys, in like, you go out to eat, you had a plan, you decide to eat what everybody else wants. There's all kinds of things that happen that can trigger us and stuff, but I want to talk about two main causes of self-sabotage today. And that is going to be, one, is the way you internally believe you're going to have to lose weight. So a lot of you, what's happening is on the inside, if I was to ask you, tell me what it's going to take for you to lose 100 pounds. You know, because that was where I was at. And I think one of the reasons why I got out of self-sabotage was because I did this one hack, okay? So the first one is always going to be the way you're defining what it's going to require for you to lose weight. You are not going to, in the moments of your life, want to make healthy choices and stuff if you have a core belief that the only way to lose weight is to be perfect, is to eat super clean, is to do things that you're not ready for, that you have to be miserable, like all these things. So I teach very often in my tribe a lot of I help them find what's broken on the inside. What is that working definition? And then how do you get to the new one? But that's why you're making those choices. Because I want you to think about this. If you think the only way to lose weight is to be miserable, then you're only going to be able to do that for so long. And then at some point, the dam has to break. And then when everybody's eating around you, or it's your birthday, like this is my birthday month, or you're on vacation, or things like that, you'll end up not doing it because you'll talk yourself out of being miserable. One of the best ways to lose weight is to not do it miserably. And that's one of the things I teach. So the number one reason that self-sabotage happens is because we have something called diet mentality. And if you listen to my podcast, I talk a lot about diet mentality. And some of the girls in here, they can put in the address or they can put the podcast name in here. It's Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. But the link is fit.click/podcast, and that's PHIT. But you can go over there and you can find episodes on diet mentality and how do you reconcile that. The second big reason why we self-sabotage, and this is one that I've been playing with and learning recently, because my tribe members are always talking to me about self-sabotage, and one of the things I want to do is create some courses for them on it. And it starts with the idea of you know what to do, but you're not doing it. Okay, I really want you to understand this. So if you identify as like Corinne, raising my hand right now, I am one of the people, I know what to do to lose weight. Like seriously, I know it doesn't even have to be hard. Like I totally get that I can start slow like you did. And you know, I've taken your free course and stuff, yet I still continue to self-sabotage. This is probably what's tripping you up. It is a perfectionistic mindset that you cannot make mistakes, and the second one thing goes wrong, you shame yourself, you judge yourself, you call yourself names, you beat yourself up. Self-sabotage will win out because that's where there's the disconnect between learning how to do better versus sitting around and shaming yourself. So that's another big thing about self-sabotage, is that it occurs and people get hung up in the cycle of continuing to just give up on their weight loss and give up on themselves, because if you think you can't make mistakes, you'll never lose weight. Losing weight, a part of the process, is the ability to make a mistake and learn. No one, guys, I know a lot of you are in here who are in my tribe. Like Missy is one of my mentors. She's lost 125 pounds. I have tons of people in here who've lost a lot of weight that have worked with me. And the one thing every one of them has in common is not a damn one of them lost their weight perfectly. Said no one ever. It does not happen. So if your working definition is that you have to do it perfectly, and the second you don't, you go immediately into, I must be wrong. Something's wrong with me. I am broken. I'll never get this. I have so much weight to lose. I knew I was hopeless. If you go into that, guess what you're not doing? You're not spending any time figuring out what process is broken here. What is it that I need to do next time? So a lot of you who are practicing self-sabotage over and over again need to do more practicing first and foremost, compassion. You need to set yourself up to be able to learn how to make mistakes with the compassion, or if that even feels too far removed for you to be compassionate, at least go to curious. At least go to, you know what? I refuse to talk to myself in a negative way anymore. I know it might come up, but do you know what I can be doing? I can always turn this inward to saying, if I got time to beat myself up, I've also got time to be curious about this. Because here's a really good mental hack for you guys when it comes to self-sabotage. When you're looking for a solution, guess what your brain can't be doing? Finding more problems with you. It has to retarget itself. It has to go into how to fix the weight loss problems. It has to go over there. Guys, I promise you, if you're suffering with self-sabotage, if you will just think about two things that are broken. Number one is how I'm defining this process and what it's going to require of me to do it. And this also ties into the second one, the perfectionism thing. If you're beating yourself up all the time, being really good at meeting yourself where you're at. That is why my entire free course is all about commitment and small steps and how you build wins. I get you so focused on moving forward in small steps so that you can build up those wins. You can end the self-sabotaging. Because guys, I'm just telling you, mistakes are going to be a part of the process. For all of you that keep fighting it and want to argue with me and hang on to your perfectionistic pain, I'm like, feel free, but it's not working for you. I'm just asking you to try it my way where it is working. What is the biggest thing you have to lose is your throat punches to yourself every time you make a mistake. You're not going to end up in a worse place by being better to yourself, by being compassionate, by taking your time with weight loss. And I say this all the time. It took me 18 months to lose 100 pounds. A lot of people can do it in 9 to 12 months. There has not been one effing day since I've lost my weight that I have regretted for a second that it took 18 months. You know why? Because 13 years later, I still have my weight off. I really learned how to change how I thought about myself. I really learned how to make this a lifestyle. I really learned how to be here. And that's what I want for all of you. I do not want anyone to lose their weight and have to do it over and over and over again. It's not fun. There's no reason for us to keep doing it over and over and over again. I always ask people, why are you going so fast? Why are you doing things so restrictively and stuff? Because are you just going to enjoy having to do that one more time? They're like, no, And I'm like, do you realistically think that the way you're doing it now is what it's going to like be your life in 20, 30 years? They're like, no. And I'm like, then don't do it this way now. Take your time. I know all of you think, and this is the biggest thing, especially when it comes to self-sabotage. You think that when you get to your weight loss, that's when you're going to be happy. And I challenge all of you to figure out how to enjoy the process so that you can be happy on the way there and you're not waiting for that carrot. It's like, why not like start challenging yourself a little bit, learning more about yourself, expecting a little more, risking some failure. I tell people all the time, it's like, you guys get so caught up in failure. It's like, what is the worst that happens? Literally, it's the way you think. That is it. Like people who say like, I can't handle failing one more time. It's like, yeah, you can. You're going to fail a lot of times through life, and telling yourself that you can't risk failing one more time just lets you feel like crap right now. It lets you live in fear and scared right now. Well, there's a trade. It sucks. That's why I'm telling you guys, it's like really important to understand that when you're saying that, you're already fearful, you're already scared. Why not just like try it? And if you fail, trust, like, I think I'll be able to handle it. I've handled other failed diets. I'm still breathing. I haven't died yet, nor gotten pregnant. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions, and then we'll see what you guys are talking about today. There's a lot of you in here. Looking fierce. Thank you. I showered today. That's probably why I look better than I normally do. You know, there's a lot of you making comments today. Have you thought about opening up the race to groupies with a fee instead of just tribe members? Lauren, no, I save all of the events in PNPTribe are always for just members only. We do that because we do special training in there. They know all my systems. They get access to me and that kind of stuff. And plus, it's just special for them. They're there to, our races and stuff aren't just for the race itself and the pretty bling. Our races and camps and my speaking events and stuff are because they're a tribe and they're family, and they want to be there with their people that they see every single day and talk to every single day. Let's see. First time seeing me live. How do we figure out the subconscious junk? Lisa, if you go to my podcast, there's a podcast called something on like journaling and thought downloads. That's how. It's a lot of writing. We teach a technique in my tribe that shows you how to see what thoughts are causing it, but it really starts with being your willingness to journal. And journaling is not hard. If you just go to Pinterest and you like search for self-love journaling, overeating journaling, things like that, you'll get all kinds of prompts. It's a matter of you spending time writing and then looking at what you're thinking about. Most of us don't have very many real facts in our life. What we have is a lot of self-created subconscious thoughts that we're carrying around about our life that cause us to eat. They trigger us into eating. So if you are stressed at your job because you believe your boss is a jerk or it's unfair and stuff, that's triggering the overeating. So a lot of times it's just like looking at all the things that you think about that are causing you to do the overeating. Let's see. I'm going to start going back down again. Perfect topic. I'm a professional saboteur. Melissa, you're not a professional saboteur. Nobody's a professional saboteur. Oh, thank you for sharing, you guys. Everybody's sharing around. Sharing is just, I think there's a button at the bottom of your screen. Oh, I already read that one. Good morning, Miss Marie. Let's see. I've lost 130 pounds in 17 months and I feel so much better. I bet you do, Brenda. Way to go. Let's see. Amazing, Brenda. Yeah, she's doing really good. Jamie, feel like a professional saboteur. How is there so many professional saboteurs in here? Guys, you're not a professional. One of the things you guys are going to have to work on is watching what you say to yourself. Part of self-sabotage is all about what you're saying on the inside. Saying I am, guys, if you're going to use the words I am, make sure it is really good on the tail end. You get to choose what you think you are. Just because you've been self-sabotaging doesn't make you now a professional. It makes you someone who might want to work on it. It makes you someone who would like to stop doing it. Like, that is the inner dialogue and vernacular you guys need to be using with yourselves. I'm a big believer. You all know, if you listen to the podcast, I am constantly on you guys about how you say things to yourself. How do you reference yourself? What kind of names are you calling yourself? You don't have to call yourself Wonder Woman today if you don't believe it, but you also don't have to keep telling yourself stuff you just currently believe because you keep putting it on repeat. Start leveling up those thoughts. Start telling yourself, I am a person who's ready to stop self-sabotaging. Is much better than calling yourself a professional saboteur. Do you think people self-sabotage because of impatience? I don't think it's impatience. I think that impatience comes from another area. I think it really comes from the idea of knowing what you want to do, and then when that doesn't happen, shaming yourself. I don't think it's the impatience that causes you to sabotage. Impatience is driven from you wanting it now and you consciously knowing that can't happen. Okay? Everybody wants to lose weight right now. Like, give me a heart if I could just be like, here you go, everyone. Oprah gave me some sprinkly dust and I'm going to, put it all over you. You get to lose weight today, all of it. We would all raise our hand for that. But the problem is that's not going to happen. Ever. Not even Oprah can do that for us. As much as I love Oprah and want to have lunch with her, even Oprah is limited in those capabilities. So it's really important for you to understand and to quit expecting it and wanting it and desiring it to be overnight, because then what happens, if you want it fast and you keep telling yourself that, you're going to build up impatience with weight loss, and people crack under that kind of pressure. One of the biggest feelings I'm always talking about with the tribe members, and guys, you know this, we talk an awful lot about what feelings do you want to feel? It's your job to create them. And one of the required feelings for weight loss is patience and understanding, some discomfort, like making that list of the feelings that you want to feel or that you need to feel, and then make a list of the ones you currently feel about it and seeing, no wonder I'm screwing myself. If I'm expecting it this way and that literally can't happen, it will feel frustrating. And when it feels frustrating, I'll give up on it. So a lot of times it's like looking at that, what I talked about in the very beginning, Karen, that working definition that we have. If we have expectations of weight loss to be fast or easy or too hard or anything impossible and stuff like that, then we start finding those areas and it reinforces this terrible definition we have, and then we quit. Corinne, this is Debbie. She's a groupie. I reached my goal weight 4 weeks ago, and for some reason since then, I have lost control and have been self-sabotaging. Debbie, that's going to be like what you're making maintenance mean. You need to think about, when I've hit goal weight, that means what? What is your definition of that? I would look into seeing what thoughts you have around it. Like either it's going to be really hard to maintain, or I'm really scared I won't be able to keep it off, or whatever. Then you're going to end up like if you're living in maintenance in a fearful place, you will want food and your old habits to now compensate for those feelings. Because once you hit maintenance, guys, a lot of times what happens when you hit maintenance is that you've been thriving off of the thrill of losing weight and getting feedback you're doing it right. And when you hit maintenance, you no longer get that feedback. The scale's not paying off anymore. All of your habits are just there. Your maintenance is no different than weight loss. Everybody's always telling me like, come up with a maintenance plan. It's like, what do you mean? The way you lost weight is how you maintain. You don't get to change jack. I eat and exercise like I did losing weight. That's the whole point. Lose it like you will live it, not lose it and then figure out how to live it. So Debbie, what I would look at is I would look at like how you've lost it what your definition is, what you're making maintenance mean. If you're in that scared place, figuring that out. Why are you so scared? Why are you choosing to believe that you're not just going to keep doing what you've been doing? That kind of stuff. Nina, she loved my quote. One of the best ways to lose weight is not to do it miserably. You're very welcome, Nina. A lot of groupies on here. Let's see. My cat is like going crazy over here by me. He's trying to jump up on our really high cabinets. He's such a crazy cat. Oh my gosh, this is Janet Hamilton. I'm doing that as you speak, beating myself up with negative thoughts. Just ate a donut for no reason other than it was there. Why do I do that? So frustrated with myself. I think because you're telling yourself that the only reason why you ate that donut was because it was sitting there. We don't eat because a donut sits there. We eat because of what we think about a donut. Either it's like, ooh, it's so good, and we didn't remind ourselves of our goal. A lot of times when people are eating things off plan, it's usually because they don't have a plan. They've not written one down. If they did write one down, it wasn't realistic. And if it was realistic, they didn't keep it on their desk and remind themselves. And then they're also, like, one of the things I would do is rather than beating yourself up, look at what you thought. Like, next time there's donuts, how are you going to pattern interrupt yourself? What are you going to do? Like, really visualizing and replaying that out. One of the things I talk to the tribe a lot about, we do things called recovery worksheets whenever we overeat, and we talk a lot about, like, how do you process and overeat so that, you know, you can continue to keep losing weight and not continue to overeat and stuff. One of the things is you include visualization, you include replays of the situation, you go immediately into processing the overeat rather than beating yourself up over it. Process, guys. The magic of weight loss is in the processes you set up for yourself to not only eat healthy, but the processes that you do when you don't. It's all a key part in making eating donuts and off plan mean something's wrong with you, slows weight loss down, period. So that's one of the other things you guys can start telling yourself is that every time I choose to beat myself up, I've just decided to tack on an extra day or two of my weight loss journey. That's all it buys you, is more time to lose weight. And a lot of you are impatient and want to do it fast. Fastest way to lose weight is get out of the shame cone. Like, you don't need it. Let's see. Down 83 pounds since February. Not perfectly. Jill, you're such a sweet girl. She's one of my PNPTribe members. Let's see. Laura says, the ability to make a mistake and learn, it's brilliance. Everything I've ever accomplished that was hard, I was making mistakes along the way and continuing to move forward. I love to learn. Maybe that's why I'm loving being a tribe member. Well, Laura, you bring up such a good point, because I think that's one of the things that you guys, when it comes to like self-sabotage and why you're not losing weight, a lot of you do have that really hardcore belief that you can't make mistakes. And I want you to really think about this. Where are all the places in your life where you are successful and didn't you make mistakes and survive? You guys really create a lot of drama around messing up. And it's just a part of learning how to do things for the long term. The best way to be able to keep your weight off long term is to make sure that you made mistakes throughout the process, because you're going to continue to have the same challenges and the same experiences when you're maintaining. Think about your weight loss as your practice playground. You're setting yourself up to be a master at maintenance by learning throughout the process of losing weight. It's really important, y'all. Trying to figure out how to comment. Yes, it did work, Amy. Good day from Australia. Hello. Christy, I sabotage and hoard food. Any podcasts on that? Christy, I would just go and start listening to my podcasts. I've got podcasts on about everything. We have 65 actual episodes that drop on Friday and like another 50 to 60 that I've done these on. So like I do a podcast and it drops every Friday. I also do these lives every week, and then I put them on the podcast on Saturday. I just get over there and start listening. It's what I would do. I address everything when it comes to weight loss because I just have a passion for people who have struggled with their obesity and their weight all their life. I mean, I was 250 pounds most of my life. And then like when I was 9, I was overweight. I was 210 in the 8th grade. I was 230 when I met my husband. I mean, I've just been all over the board with weight. And I want women to learn how to lick this. And I think the biggest thing about it is, but just know that I cuss on my podcast, y'all. Don't go over there and be shocked. Just saying. But one of the things that I know is that the reason why I lost weight was because I did not do a BS diet anymore. I really started thinking about how am I going to do this for the rest of my life. I am no longer willing to do stupid tricks, and I was no longer willing to rush the process. I just every day was going to wake up and figure out how could I do something a little better today. So I started off really slow and steady, but slow and steady got me all the way through the race. And so if you go to episodes 1 and 2, I talk about my story, and I have a podcast co-host. She's lost 80 pounds. We get it. We have lived and walked in your shoes for miles and miles and miles. So go over there and listen to that. Let's see. Good morning from Nashville. Hello, Miss Lace. I can put my glasses back on. So excited for the topic. I just hit 60 pounds lost since January with your free course, your videos, and your podcast. Halfway there and still battling those voices. I have no doubt that this is my last time, but still so amazed how I can totally face plant, but still get right back up. Thank you for the brain work. I am in a place mentally and emotionally that I never thought possible. PNP groupie for the last time. There you go. Congratulations, Miss Lisa. Let's see. Here's Miss Sonia. Hey, Sonia. So she's PNPTribe for life. Here's one of my tribe members. Yes. This weekend I made bad choices. Instead of spiraling out as usual, I know why I did it and no need to beat myself up. I went to bed with a 24-hour plan. Recovering perfectionist. PNP rocks. And Sonia, I don't know. Did you do the, we did that master class in the Queen's Club on Finish. That was really good. If not, when you get to Queen's Club, you will get it. For some reason, I think you're in there. I eat out of depression and of depression from being overweight. I know what I need to do, but I self-sabotage. Ruth, if you'll go over to my podcast, I have a whole episode on my struggles with depression. When I was 17, I attempted suicide and battled depression severely from the age of about 16 through about the first year of my son's life. That was the last huge bout of depression that I had. I've had like small blips between here and there, but I pretty much after that first year started really working on like changing my life and stuff. But I talk a lot about how I dealt with depression and how I deal with it now and how I approach my bad days and things like that. And it might be really, a lot of people have said it's been very helpful for them. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions? Hello, Miss Judy. Tell Kirk I said hello. He may even be listening. Our brains just love the status quo, don't they? We change other things. We can change this. Make the next best decision. Leanne. Deprivation gets me every time. Yeah, Leanne, so you're setting yourself up to feel deprived. So one of the things, deprivation is always a feeling, and it always is stemmed from a way we're thinking about our choices. A lot of times deprivation comes because we think we can't have things. And it's like, if you planned it, that was just your choice. So you have to decide, are these the choices I want to make in the way I want to lose my weight? Or am I sitting around being a martyr to my own damn diet when that's triggering my deprivation? So really looking at like where the deprivation is stemming from would be helpful. Christy, I realized a long time ago that I self-sabotage myself, but didn't know how to stop. Thank you for showing me the way. You're very welcome, Christy. Look at my girls all coaching people. Does flavor drops for your water break a fast? It depends, Rebecca. I know, or no, this is Stephanie. Some people, I know a lot of you are doing like morning fasts and things like that, where you're like letting your insulin clean out of your body and stuff like that. If you're sensitive to it, it could spike your insulin. You will know because you will get hungry. If you do not get hungry and you can keep going, it's not bothering you at all. So that's like the easiest dumbed down way to understand if it's like, if you're gonna, not eat breakfast and wait until around 10 or 11 o'clock to eat because you're trying to do like just a little fasting, little intermittent fasting, the best way to know it is if you have something with artificial sweetener in it, you'll either get hungry or it won't bother you. And that's how you know. And I always like to do the simplest techniques ever for my clients. I'm like, let's just not complicate things. Nobody needs a hard-ass diet. Can you speak to still seeing the fat girl in the mirror? Amy, we actually have some podcasts on that one. A lot of it is just going to be noticing that you're doing it and then being willing. This is where a lot of you get tangled up. You lose weight, you see the old image, and then you get mad that you're seeing the old image instead of being like, that's normal. I've been talking this way to myself for a long time. So now I need to start talking to myself another way if I ever intend on believing that I can see something different. That is the simplest way to do it. We just got through doing a whole month on self-love in my tribe. They get courses every month and stuff like that. We studied that, and one of the weeks we talked all about self-talk and changing it. The simplest way I can tell you is you need to decide, am I willing to reprogram my brain on how to see myself? That requires work. It requires you to drop the frustration that it's not going to happen overnight and get busy on telling yourself the things you want to hear before you even believe it. It's not so much, do I believe it now? It's like, am I willing to believe one day I will? That's really key. Carol, PNPTribe member. When you plan your fitness, do you plan an actual workout? I work out 30 minutes a day, Monday through Friday, with my sister 3 days cardio, 2 days weight. So I've been putting it in as 30-minute workout and then going one gym class a day, water aerobics or other land class like HIIT. Carol, it depends. Like if I'm really working towards something, sometimes I like to follow a schedule. Usually what I do is I just plan my week out and it'll say like today is shoulders, tomorrow is going to be legs and whatever. And I have been doing weights for so long that I go out there and I just get busy. I literally have like hundreds of workouts saved in my Evernote, and I either pick one if I don't want to think of it, or I'm just like today, I completely made up my entire shoulder routine. I was like, I'm going to walk for 5 minutes. I'm going to do 3 sets of something with abs. And then we'll get on the treadmill for 3 minutes. And while I'm on the treadmill, like just walking, I'm going to figure out what the next 3 are. But I've just been doing it for so long that a lot of times I do that so that I don't get into a rut of doing the same stuff all the time. I think just saying that you're going to go to gym 5 days a week, 2 days I'm going to choose classes with weights, 2 days or 3 days I'm going to choose cardio classes, perfectly fine. You don't have, guys, to start exercising. It doesn't have to be incredibly fancy or written out strict or anything like that. Unless you're trying to get very specific results, like to be a faster runner and finish a half marathon, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you want to schedule. Like I've got a half marathon this November that I won't even start training officially for until the 1st of August. Until then, I'm enjoying weights. I run a little bit. I just know that today is cardio. Do I want to run? Do I want to spin? Do I want to row? I like to get in there and just meet myself where I'm at every day. And I think that is a great lesson for all of you. Don't get hung up in like having to do things perfectly. Think about what is going to motivate you and think about what will keep you on plan. If a schedule is better for you, then find schedules. That's key. But like I'm the kind of person that does better with spontaneity. So I find spontaneity in my workouts. I look for areas of my life where I can include spontaneity. So I'm not looking for it in my food, and I'm not looking for it in my work calendar. Like there are certain areas of my life I'm like, this should be planned. There's certain areas of my life like, this is where spontaneity is supposed to be happening. I'm not supposed to have spontaneous donuts fly in my mouth. Like I want to practice it in ways that are going to better me, not in ways that are going to take me off my game. Can you talk about, this is Lana, can you talk about the difference between white knuckling and sitting in discomfort? Where do you draw the line? Lana, I think you're one of mine, if I'm not mistaken. There is a whole worksheet. If you go to the PNPTribe Facebook group, just type in white knuckling. There's one where we talked about that in depth one day. I think I even did, I think Sonia was involved in this. I think I did a live on it, and we're getting ready to add that as a course in our stuff. But the essential thing is, and we have a podcast on that. Discomfort is where it feels hard. Like you're salivating, you're thinking about food, it's there. You're going to have like probably 1,000 thoughts about it and all that other kind of stuff, but you're agreeing that you're breaking the habit of eating just because you think about it. It is from a very like focused mindset. It's like uncomfortable, it stinks, it's not fun, but it's from a very focused mindset. It's a very deliberate mindset. It's a very uncomfortable mindset. Like you're going to notice that like, oh my gosh, like I have a lot of thoughts about food. But the difference between that and white knuckling is when you're in discomfort, you're noticing all the thoughts that you're having about it. Like you notice yourself going, oh my gosh, here I am sitting here thinking how unfair this is. And I'm thinking I should just have it. Like you're watching those thoughts come in and they're super uncomfortable, but they're not impossible because now you're watching them and you're not judging it. White knuckling is sitting around going, I am not going to eat that. I just wish this would go away. This is so hard. This is the sucky part of losing weight. I don't know when this is going to stop. If I have to do this for the rest of my life, I'll never make it. I should just have one. Like you start believing in the thoughts and you still feel really worked up, but there's an extra level of being worked up because you are very like into your story. Discomfort is where like you're still feeling it, you still want it, it's very desirable, but you're tolerating that. I think a lot of you think that discomfort is like, when we say like feel an urge, I think a lot of my tribe members are thinking that I mean, okay, it's time to process my urge. No, you're going through life and you're just willing to sit there and be like, yeah, I got to keep making dinner even though I want to eat all this food. That's okay. That's what it feels like to want something and not have it. And like you're really like in that tolerable state. Let's see. Kim, I'm always up a pound or two after weights. Geez, help. You don't need any help, Kim. That's just called normal process. It's just your body getting stronger. It's your body learning how to burn the fat because it's going to burn fat in order to, like all that soreness and all that water you're holding from weights while it's processing and holding on to those 2 pounds, the only thing it's doing is burning fat. I mean, you can sit there and argue with it if you want to, but your body's going to do it every damn time, twice on Sunday. So just let it do it and keep losing weight. I'm up 4 pounds after leg day. If I do a good job, it should be 5. And I don't sit there for a hot second and feel bad about it. I'm just like, I would rather the scale be up because my butt was in the gym killing it than to my scale be up because my butt was at McDonald's killing myself. So think about that. Like, don't get caught up in drama around stuff that you don't need to get caught up in drama over. Y'all, we got to make weight loss easier. One of the easiest ways to make weight loss easier is to quit looking for trouble when it's not there. I find it hard to start my day, this is Jenny, when the first thing I have to do is get dressed in clothing that doesn't fit or look right on me due to recent weight gain. How can I get past this? Well, you can either buy bigger clothes or you're just going to have to say, I'm going to start working on it so these clothes fit. I feel like just buying new clothes will cost me more money and have the same feeling. Makes it hard to get through each day with such negativity. You have to decide, Jenny, is wearing some clothes. Am I going to, like, if you're going to buy new clothes, then just say, I'm going to buy new clothes because I want to start the day feeling comfortable in my clothes while I work on my weight loss. Or I'm not going to buy new clothes and I'm going to choose each day to understand that my clothes may be a little tight, but I'm working on my weight loss. You need to like get yourself in that future focus mindset. Sitting around and thinking about like how terrible this is and like you're setting yourself in your scenario for a lose-lose situation. Well, if I buy new clothes, I feel like a failure. If I stay in these clothes, I feel like a failure. You get to decide if you're a failure or if you are the person who's working on your future self. It's just a choice. And that's your conversation to have with yourself each day. It's also your responsibility to show up each morning deciding what you're going to think when you put those clothes on. And it's going to set the tone. This is really important, guys. In the morning, you need to set the tone for the day. That's your, you've got to be very conscious. You got to know that your brain's going to want to go to poo-poo city, and then you've got to turn the ship around. That's just your work. Guys, that's the most important part of weight loss, is taking control of your mind and put it in the direction you want to go. Misty, I work nights and usually do well eating at work. Then when I come home, sometimes eat everything I get my hands on. How do I make myself just go to bed? You need to have a plan for when you come home. This is what I see most often. Most people are coming home thinking about how tough the day was, how tired they are. They start thinking about the food they're going to eat. You need to catch yourself in that cycle, and you need to start thinking about what you're going to do when you walk in the door. The reason why people come home and eat is because they're thinking about how terrible the day was, rather than saying the day happened and now I want to make the night better. It gets a small redirect. And you have to get on that stuff. You have to be very wary of when your brain wants to go to talking you into overeating. Do you have any advice on how often you should weigh or take measurements? My opinion is you take measurements once a month. I always have my girls do it on the first of the month because it's just easy to remember. And then we have them weigh in on every Friday. You can weigh in as often as you want, as long as you are going to be very responsible with the scale, understanding that it's going to go up and down. It is not supposed to always be going down. There's going to be lots of variables, like our girl who's exercising and stuff. You want to use the scale data to trigger you to look at what you did the last couple of days and to evaluate that number realistically. How can we take up meditation as a beginner? Download the app called Calm. Ashley, I'm on summer break. I'm worried about my progress when I'm back at work. Any advice? Set up a back at work schedule. That's it. A lot of you make being out of school. Here's the two things I hear. It's summer, it's so hard, there's no routine. Oh my God, when I go back to work, it's so much easier in the summer. Now when I go back to work, it's so much harder. Guys, it's how you think about it. Think about, now is the time to start thinking about the routines you need to put into place when you go back to work. If you're gaining weight when you're at work, it's because you're overeating. That's period. It's not work doing it. It's because you're choosing to overeat. That's it. So think about how you're going to start structuring when you go back so that you're not overeating. This is Stephanie. I feel I eat when I'm bored and avoiding doing other things. Is this a form of self-sabotage? It's not really. It's more, that is just not being willing to get busy on doing the things you need to do. Or if you are avoiding doing other things, sometimes we legit just need a break, and we associate eating, because eating is active, as if we're doing something. So you want to make sure that you are looking into that, or just being willing to be bored. What's the worst thing if you're bored and you don't eat? You're sitting around thinking about things, and you're just avoiding something that you're thinking about. That's why we eat when we're bored. Let's see. Cora said she listened to the podcast about the 4 circles last night. Life-changing. Thank you. You're very welcome. I don't have any podcasts on meditation, but there are plenty of them out there. I think meditation is great. I think it really helps train your brain. Does it really mean that you're not ready to commit if you keep self-sabotaging? I don't think it means that you're not ready to commit. I think all of you are ready to commit. There's a difference between being ready to commit and actually committing. Committing is an active process. Being ready to commit is like a thought and a feeling about it. I've just never met any of you who don't want it bad enough, or who aren't ready to commit and stuff. I think the part that is hard for you guys is really like understanding all the little things and being able to work through them and being patient with yourself as you work through the little things in self-sabotage, the little things in your mindset that are keeping you from losing weight. Most of you want to be committed for about a week, and you don't want to be committed to making mistakes for like 3 months. It's like, well, I'll make a mistake or two, and by the third one, you're like, see, I just knew it. Like you go immediately into this shaming cycle. That's the problem. You know, if you're going to, like, what I want to know is not so much, are you committed to weight loss? Are you committed to all the things required, like making mistakes? Most of you are committed to, well, I'll find a food plan and a trainer, and I'll order some shakes. And like, I'm committed to that part of the process. I'm committed to the part where I'm doing some things, but I'm not committed to the work around it with my brain. That's the part I want you guys to really think about, like understanding how all of that stuff is very important and how you need to make that happen. If someone is just starting, what is the first step in your professional opinion? Terry, I would go to the podcast, episodes 1 and 2 talks exactly how I got started. If you go to my free course, that's how most of these girls who have lost a lot of weight, almost every person who's either a tribe member or one of my groupies who belong to my podcast Facebook group that's free, all started with my free course. That's how I get people started. It's always about learning how to commit, learning how to do small wins and collect them, and learning how to plan. Those are the big things. It's not about changing food and cutting. We don't count calories. We don't do any of that stuff in my group. And these girls lose all kinds of mad weight. There's no special tricks or tips. It's all about how you're thinking. And most people need someone to teach them how, because we've never learned it. I want you to think about this. No one ever teaches us how to think better about ourselves. Like, there's no course in school on that. No one's sitting around teaching us, oh, you know, that's just how you're thinking about this. Like, we need that stuff. So if you go to PNP411.com, I have a free course. You can download it. You can sign up for it. You'll get, like, I'll tell you where my podcast is. You'll get all that kind of stuff. Plus, you get a workbook and you get videos from me. It's super helpful. Let's see. Is it possible to lose weight and keep things tightened so surgery isn't needed for loose skin? Yeah, it's possible. It depends on your age. It depends on your genetics and stuff. I've had surgery for loose skin. I don't have any problems with it. A lot of my clients don't have surgery for loose skin. It's really going to depend on how long you've been overweight, the thickness or elasticity of your skin. I have a whole podcast on loose skin. You may want to listen to it, where I give a few tips and tricks on just how to lessen the damage as you're losing weight. One of the things is to lose weight slow. You know, the faster you lose weight, the more loose skin you're going to have. Your skin needs time to kind of shrink down with you. Let's see. I've been working since January and have lost 30 pounds. I've recently gotten off track for a couple of weeks and gained 5 back. Now that I am refocusing, I want to start where I am. Does that mean just starting with 1 or 2 small changes again, or should I get started, or how should I get started again? Christy, it's just like, it's reminding yourself you're not starting over. You're just recommitting. And then you just start with what you know you can recommit to today. What happens is when your brain is really focused on the idea that you're not starting over, that you went off the rails and stuff, when you tell yourself that story, guys, this is what happens. Your brain thinks you have to relearn everything. And that's not really the case. But it gets caught up in the cycle of, like, you know, oh, it was so hard the first time because I had to learn all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. You need to tell yourself, I'm just recommitting because I know what I need to be doing, and I need to just start layering in those things again. You'll layer in faster doing it that way. If you come from a place of I have to start all over again, I don't even know, like, it'll start sending you into the throes of I don't know where to start, because you'll think of all the things you know And you won't, that's the key. You will think of all the things you know and you won't know where to start. And if you think about recommitting, it allows your brain to say, I know a lot of things. Let me pick the ones I'm ready to start with. So it really gets you, it like immediately snaps you into that empowered stance on getting started again. I love your hair. Can I see the back? Yeah, I hope it looks good. I never look at the back of my hair though. When I fix my hair, I never turn around. Mandy, how do you change these thoughts? I get that thinking it's going to be hard makes it harder, but how do I change the thought to something positive? It's not so much changing it to a positive. First and foremost, guys, you have to be really conscious of when you are making it harder on yourself and asking yourself, why am I making this hard right now? Just say, what's my next best decision? That is the fastest way to get out of it. A lot of you, what you want to do is you want to like, well, if I know I'm making it hard on myself, tell me the positive thoughts. The problem is that until you get really aware that these are your negative thoughts, you're not going to believe the positive ones. So it kind of shoots you in the foot. You need to like start thinking about what's my next best decision and stuff and collecting a little momentum, redirecting your brain, turning down the volume of the negative stuff. Then you can start layering in like, okay, if I say something negative, I want to tell myself something positive. But being okay with the idea that you're not going to believe it. In the beginning, you're not going to believe it. What you're going to really believe is believe in the process that doing this will work. So I'm going to believe in the idea that these new thoughts I tell myself will eventually work if I keep redirecting over there. That's a key distinction. Thank you, Missy. When you talk about learning from my mistakes, my brain starts persuading me to eat and drink as it's okay as long as I learn from it. Well, I mean, you could do that, or you could also tell your brain that it's okay to make mistakes, but you're only going to make the mistakes that are like warranted. I mean, you have to just kind of be on to yourself. Like, I wouldn't tell myself it's okay to just overeat so I can learn from it. I would say overeating is never tolerable, and when it happens, I have to process it. You need to convince yourself that making mistakes is not a behavior you tolerate. There's a difference between shaming yourself and saying that you're a screw up and telling yourself, I don't tolerate this behavior out of myself anymore. This is not behavior I do. And if it happens, like, I'm going to process the toot out of it, but I don't tolerate the behavior. Huge distinction. I'm glad you brought it up, Mary. Can you share a mantra thought when you're about to go off plan? Yeah, the most famous one that I have in my tribe is better in the trash than on my ass. Usually what I tell myself is, how good is that going to look in your jeans tomorrow? Like, I just think about stuff like that's why I'm always talking to myself. I'm just like, you need to get like really aware. Like, if you're wanting to eat off plan, there's consequences, and here's the consequences. Usually a lot of times I just talk to myself about the consequences of this like knee-jerk reaction, this want it now attitude, this I deserve it, I've worked so hard, everybody else is having some. Like, when I start all that stuff, I immediately start telling myself, and what are the consequences tomorrow? How are you going to think and feel? I always give myself at least the opportunity to know the price I'm going to pay, and then I ask myself, is it worth that price? And then I always come back in the next day and really process it. Really, I do. Like, I think about how terrible I feel in the morning. I think about, I really wish I had honored my own word, that kind of stuff. I make sure that my brain remembers each time I choose to eat off plan that it wasn't as glorious as I thought it was in the moment. Because that's really the best way to end overeats, guys, is we just live in the temporary relief it's providing, and then we want to move on, or then we move into beating ourselves up. We never really think about the price we're really paying. We make it mean something's wrong with us instead of like if I, let's say I have more wine than I want. Like, let's say I plan to have 3 drinks and I have 10. All right, not that I have 10, but let's pretend I had 10. And the next day, I would journal so much about how ragged I feel, like my body, all the things I'm missing out on today. Like I go through all of that stuff so that the next time I want to drink off plan, I have an equal recollection of the currency that I'm paying to have that temporary relief of doing what other people are doing, fitting in, having a good time, or I deserve it. Like you got to really like tell both sides of the story. Most of us are only telling one side of the story. What's a pattern interrupt? A pattern interrupt is just where like if you come home every day and you go to the pantry and you stand there and you eat food, you come home every day, you sit in the car for a minute and you visualize yourself walking past the pantry and you have something that you're going to do each day before you actually go to the pantry. It's just to get your brain out of the habit of doing the exact same behavior and patterns every single day. Hey, Karma. What do you all drink for something fun without going off the rails? I'm a wine drinker, and I also like to drink club soda with flavored vodka. That's one of my favorite drinks. In fact, I'm leaving for Vegas tomorrow, and I will drink a lot of club soda and flavored vodkas at the pool and stuff. That's what I like because I cannot stand sugary drinks. They end up making me sick and feeling like terrible. I learned that lesson a long time ago. Hey, Leanne. How do you join your group? What is the cost and benefits? Lisa, you can find all the cost and benefits over on PNPTribe.com. So if you go over there, the cost of joining's there. What you get and all that kind of stuff is over there. I would tell you the benefits is that you get to work with me. You get to hear crap like this 24/7. We have a private member podcast, a lot of coaching, and you get to really learn more about your brain. Like my biggest thing is I just don't think women need more food plans in this world. If you need food plans, go to Pinterest. Seriously, save yourself some money. There's plenty of food plans, plenty of videos in the world when it comes to that stuff. What nobody is teaching you guys is how to have compassion when you overeat, how to understand that mistakes are part of the process, how to end self-sabotage, the difference between a white knuckle and a discomfort. Like the things we're talking about here, that is the stuff that we talk and we coach on day in and day out inside of my tribe. So, I mean, and then the other biggest benefit is people like you. Seriously. You know, one of the reasons why I created my membership and my tribe is because women felt alone in this journey. They just didn't think anybody else was like them. They just thought that they were just sitting there trying to lose weight and nobody gave a crap and everybody had it easier than them and nobody got their struggles. And they come in there and they share their stories and we start talking about how to move forward in life and they're like, for the first time ever, I'm not alone. Like people get me. People understand that this is something I'm going to have to work through because not everybody has that in their real life. You know, they need that and we get to do that every day. And for me, it's a blessing to be able to offer that kind of help to people. Let's see. Michelle, she's one of my May newbies. Just sitting here working on my TDL when you came on live. Changed gears, made a list of ways I self-sabotaged and another list of the reasons that I have been successful. Happy to say that I have way more of the second. Good for you, Missy. Brenda, since I've lost all my weight, I still don't have a flat tummy. How do I get it flat? I have a trainer at the gym and nothing is working. Brenda, you may just not have the genetics for one. That would be the first thing. The second is you sometimes like a flat stomach. I'm just going to tell you, like if you have loose skin, it may be loose skin. If you still have fat to lose, it's probably fat to lose. The stomach, especially if you're in your 30s, in your early 40s, your body is going to hang on to weight there. And then eventually it's going to morph into other areas because it's, you know, like it thinks it's, well, no, wait a minute. I got that backward. When you're in your 30s and 40s, usually we carry our weight more around our legs because we're in the childbirthing years. Then what happens is we move into our peri and menopausal years, and our weight moves up because now it thinks, well, you're old and dying, so we better protect them organs. We don't need to protect your baby-making things anymore, right? And you're not going to be needing big birthing hips. So there's some of that genetic and just the way we've evolved as a human species that happens. But when it comes to the stomach, sometimes you have to just get even leaner. You know, it just depends on your genetic makeup and stuff. I would just talk to your trainer about it and see what you can do. I ended up having a tummy tuck because there was going to be no amount of weights, no amount of leanness. I mean, I was lean at one point when I was doing figure competitions, like the unhealthy lean to do those bodybuilding competitions and stuff. Still didn't have a flat stomach. Seriously, I still had loose skin and stuff. So it's not that it's hopeless. I don't want you to feel bad about it, but I just want you to like think about, you know, do I still have weight to lose? Maybe you talk to your trainer, but there's no like specific exercises that are going to make you have a leaner stomach. Some people do experience a leaner stomach when they're not eating sugar and flour foods. You may want to look into that if you haven't already. So those are just a few of the things I know. Susan Hollander, I think being the fat girl is a basic part of my unconscious identity. I've been that my whole life. Maybe something in me is scared to change that. I don't think it's that you're scared to change it. It's just your identity. It's just reprogramming your inner identity and really talking, like figuring out the things you tell yourself. If you are scared, then I would just, Susan, just do a TDL on why am I scared to lose weight? Am I scared of changing it? If so, it would be because of these reasons. Try doing that. That'll come up with some reasons. How do I find all of your podcasts? You can just go to fit.click/podcast. It's PHIT.click/podcast. And it's called Losing 100 Pounds with Fit and Fat. Where did you get that top? I got this from Venus.com. And I think they still have it. And I think they have it in other colors. It's one of my favorites because it's super comfortable. And I have my new Lisa Rinna pants on from QVC. Everybody that's one of my tribe members knows I've been like berserk about the Lisa Rinna collection. In fact, I ordered some more clothes of hers yesterday. Anyway, I got the Lisa Rinna pants on today. I just got them in. Like she said, you can roll them up and they don't wrinkle. They came in the bag and I'm wearing them and they weren't wrinkled. I'm like, Lisa Rinna, you speak the truth. Missy Shea, 124 podcast episodes on losing 100 pounds with Fit and Fat. So we have a ton on there, guys. Seriously. There's like everything you want to know and more on that podcast. Aw, Mary Smith, a PNP groupie. Corinne, I am 92 pounds down because of you and your teachings. You are just incredible with all the thoughts around food and weight loss concepts. You are so down to earth and real. You have helped me realize that other successes in my life were accomplished by doing what you teach. I just now have applied it to myself directly in His work. So very grateful for finding you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are so welcome, Mary. And I've been watching you on my lives for so long. It's like showing up and stuff. You're a really good testament to someone who is like, this is what it takes to lose weight, guys. You keep coming back to doing the work. You just keep, like, I don't care how many times you fail. Like, I would ask myself, how many diets am I willing to fail until there's the one that works? Thank God that I wasn't afraid of failing one more time. Like the day that I decided I was going to lose weight, for the last time, I'm just glad I showed up because it would have been just as easy for me to say, I'm afraid to fail one more time. You never know. The worst thing that can happen is you don't start for fear of failure, and it was the one that would have worked. Seriously, I want you guys to think about this. You think the worst thing that can happen is that you fail. And I want to tell you the worst thing that can happen is you don't start, and that was your moment. And you cheated yourself out of it because of one stupid feeling, scared. Like you ain't ever been scared in your life and done something anyway. Most of us are mamas. We were scared to death when it was time to go into labor, but guess what? We showed up and pushed a baby out. You can handle it. Do not convince yourself that you're not worth it and that you can't handle things. Women can handle all kinds of stuff. We handle things all the time like a boss. We can handle weight loss too. You just need somebody to show you how to do that. You need somebody to teach you how to tap into your own inner, badass. It's all that's got to happen. Weight loss is a matter of you being willing to do that part. Don't let points and shakes and shit like that fool you. Are my new times Tuesday? No, the reason why last week was Wednesday, I was traveling last Tuesday. I'm traveling tomorrow too. I leave to go back out of town tomorrow, and I have to leave. I'm on the airplane at 6:50 in the morning, so I had to do my live today. Next week, we're back on Wednesday, so don't worry about it. That is my normal time. Can you do the free course more than once? Yes, Lori, you can do it more than once. You still have to, you'll have to email us at support if you want to do it more than once, because the way our email system is set up, it doesn't want to send you things over and over again. We don't want you to accidentally start getting stuff and it be like, oh my gosh, well, she just quit sending me things. So just email us at support@PNPTribe.com. We can take you off the old list and just re-add you to it, and it'll put you right back through so you can get all the videos and stuff. Guys, if you want to know about loose skin and stuff, just go to the podcast. There's a lot on there about loose skin, a whole lot. All right, guys, I think I'm going to... Oh, Robin, I just love you. You're so sweet. Does water count as water if you add flavor packets? I count it. If that's where you got to start to get your water down, do it. Seriously. Oh, here's a good question, Heather. Just joined a gym at 257 pounds. I know it gets easier. How do I avoid the 4 days of muscle pain until I build strength? Also, any way to avoid gaining weight and keep dropping pounds? I feel like I've stalled. Here's the reason why. So, Heather, when you first start lifting weights, and I want you guys to think about this, the more weight you have to lose, the more this is going to stall you out for like a week or two. The way your muscles work is when they get sore, they have to hold water in order to make the muscles tighter and shapelier and better. While that process is going on, it is tapping into your fat stores to do that. But the water is outweighing the fat that it's burning off. So there's like nothing happening, or the water weighs more because there's more water being retained faster than what the body can tap into the fat. But the beautiful part of it is that when you're sore and when you're working out like that, no matter what the scale is saying, as long as you're not overeating, the magic is happening. The only way the magic doesn't happen is if you're overeating. Okay? And you just, whether you exercise or not, guys, you can't lose weight if you overeat. Period. So, Heather, what I would tell you to do is, first and foremost, that incredible soreness is going to last for about 2 to 3 weeks. And the reason why is when you're not used to using those muscles, there are lots of really tiny muscle fibers that are going to get ripped, that are going to be really sore, but they get conditioned and hardened up first. Then when you're working out, what happens is the major muscle areas, the bigger tears, they're the ones that will do it. It won't feel as bad. It's because you have all these micro tears in areas that we normally don't work at all. They're stabilizers that are going to condition fast. That's why there's that incredible soreness. Just be ready to deal with it for about 2 to 3 weeks. That's the best thing I can tell you, is that the pain now is worth the gain later. Drink a lot of water. Don't skip on water, and make sure you're getting sleep. And then every single day, walk some. The best way to reduce muscle soreness is to make sure that there's water and blood getting to the muscles. The worst thing you can do is to quit drinking water, or don't drink enough water and sit around, because then the blood's not getting there and you're not getting hydrated. You will be sore longer and you'll slow down your fat loss. Okay. So you just want to do those things, but that's the best thing. You're not going to be, the only way to not gain weight when you're working out is to don't overeat. All the other little small blips you're going to have on the scale are completely normal. They're just going to happen. And I wouldn't fight those. I would welcome them in gladly, because they're going to have huge payoffs in the end. So I want you guys to go to, if you are new to me, the first thing you should do is go to PNP411.com. You should take the free course. The second thing you should do is subscribe to the podcast. Seriously, I would make an appointment on your calendar so that every Friday, you know, like I've subscribed, it's going to download, and I'm going to get that podcast listened to. I give away so much free help every single week. It is incredible. So if you really want to lose weight, you'll be subscribed to that podcast. You'll also get the bonus episode on Saturday. So if you cannot make my Facebook Live to be able to ask a question, then you can always just listen to this broadcast. But if you want to have your questions answered, I do it once a week, every single week, and I get through as many questions as I can in the time we have together. So I would take the free course. I would make sure you're listening to the podcast. And then if you take the free course and you like the things you hear and everything, you'll get invited into the PNP Groupie Facebook group where all the podcast listeners are hanging out and talking. I run a free challenge in there once about every quarter where for 5 days I'm in there live. I am teaching, I am helping, and then I open up my tribe. I only open up the tribe like 4 times a year, and I think next year it's only going to be 3 times a year. So if you ever want to work with me and my coaches and be able to come to my events and do all those things, you have to be a tribe member. So you can get all that information if you just go to PNP411.com. We'll get you 3 course. We'll get you all set up and stuff. You guys have a great rest of your week. I am headed to Las Vegas again with my husband. I had promised myself that this summer was going to be the summer that I took a lot of vacations, maintained my weight, and had an amazing time. And so far, I've been doing that. So, Tribe, I will be coming live to you a lot from Vegas. One of the things I'm going to do this week is I've got a little list of topics I want to cover with you. So you'll be looking forward to seeing me live from the Las Vegas. And you guys have a great week. Talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.